Je reste derrière l'ordi contre le micro, c'est ça? Ouais, c'est pour la salle. Ouais. C'est bon? Eh bien, bonjour à tous. Bienvenue pour ce workshop exle. So welcome for this exle workshop. I will try to do French, English. If you have any question or anything that's not clear, the slides are in English, but don't hesitate to ask any questions. So, to introduce myself, so I'm Mathieu, aka Dramac on internet, and I'm here today to present you exle, how to use it, why it's needed, and everything you need to know to use it to its full power. So I'm a pen tester red teamer at Capgemini. That's my daily job, and I've created with Charlie Bromberg, aka Shutdown, these tools exle to be a replacement and an improvement for hacking set over traditional Kali Linux and other OS. So let's start with our summary for this session. We try to begin with the theory. So why have we created such a solution? What are the problem and the expectation for our job, our daily job as a printer, retriever, offensive, and any hacking projects? And how exgle works, how to use it, how to master it, and finally, thanks to Box, we will have access to a dedicated lab to put everything you've learned in practice and run some box faster than ever. So, as a professional red teamer, pen tester, hacker, etc., what should you do? Because our daily job is to improve security for our customers, to create value, to do assessments, and we will give some advice. So how to ensure confidentiality, integrity, etc. But what about us? That's good to give client advice, but what rules do we impose to ourselves? So the exercise, if you don't really see, there is a slide you can download also. There is some command to copy paste, so you can use the link and download the slide for later. It could be useful. So, what expectation, what good practice should we follow? I gave you some time to get the link. So first is confidentiality. When you are running an assessment for a customer, the customer expects that there is a confidentiality. Everything you will do for your customers is protected and will not merge or any human error. You will have to leak some data in another context, another network, etc. So the isolation of the data and risk is important on architecture. You can't have a bunch of data from different clients and do anything. So, of course, we can always be, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I don't mix that. There is so many variables. Can we be sure not mix? For example, maybe I forgot to set a close ticket. Maybe I will use a history command with a password and forget, or using the wrong Kerberos key, etc., etc. So many places for mistake. Second is reliability. When you are doing engagement, especially with short-term tests, you don't have time to waste. So your environment must be perfect. So if you are starting Monday, and you spend the whole day to debug, fix your tools, your environment. You are doing an API upgrade, and everything broke. That's not good. That's the worst day because you will spend all week trying to recreate, fix your environment. I see some smile, so I see pain in your opinion. We share this. So we will bring exegol. We'll bring exegol. So then, once we have a reliable environment, our good practice would be reproducibility. Why reproducibility? When we are doing some tests, some customers might expect what did you do with what tools, what functions to create or ask a new audit later with the same tool, the same environment, try to reproduce what you did to see if a bug is fixed, etc., etc. So that's also a good point for any engagement. Another point very important for engagement is the traceability. So what do I mean by traceability? Anything you are doing on customer's network or application must be traced, must be logged somewhere. Because if there is any problem or later in your report you need any information, you have to say, to know what you did at what time, what command, what parameter, which server did you use, you attack, what is the IP, what was the exact time. So traditionally, every important information will have to do a comment, copy paste in the text file or anything to keep track, but maybe there is a time when you have to do things fast, you don't have time, you can fix things up. That's not good. So we will try to address that. And finally, efficiency. Our engagements are really based on time. We have to save time, especially when we are doing consulting like me, and we have to be efficient and fast to realize every operation that we're used to, reconnaissance, escalation, etc., post-exploitation, etc., etc. So we need also tools and an environment that follow every step. That's what we should expect, and that's what we should be standing for. Conscientious to get value and respect the good practice and security for customers. So today it's like a blue team, but for red team. Not quite UCC. So what already exists? I have to be honest, I didn't put red cross everywhere, but some maybe a little. So this point, I just explain how did they apply to existing solutions. So I have two scenarios. First in style, you have your laptop, our laptop, and you are used to Kali Linux. So you use Kali, Parrot, Black, anything you like. You have everything installed on your host, it works, you can customize it. Okay, that's great. But there is no isolation. Everything is on the same hardware, on the same namespace, with the same user. You don't have any segmentation. So unless you are reinstalling your laptop between each project, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Reliability, you have a system upgrade, you have a new package, you have anything that can crash your environment, that's not something reliable. Tomorrow night, last night you have a kernel upgrade, tomorrow you run, oh no, there is secure boot, and you didn't sign your custom kernel module, so it didn't work. Try again later. So, no, that's still not a good thing. Reproducibility, the system will evolve in time, so you cannot always re-execute the same command in the same environment because your host is alive and will have some limits. Traceability is the manual, it's a pain, you can miss things because it's human, and you cannot trust this. And finally, customization. So that's kind of the major point because every solution has some base, has some good points, but each person has his own touch. Me, I want my Vim configuration. I like these tools. With another, I want Tmux. No, me, I want Bash. No, I want ZSH, Fish. whatever you need. Everything has its own setup, its own configuration. So once you have your setup, you will have some custom config to appropriate yourself, your environment, and work better. So on host install, it's a one-time setup. That's true. You can do whatever you want. But if you change laptop, you have to do it all over again. Maybe you will forget some configuration or anything. It's okay. You change job, you change enterprise, no matter the reasons you upgrade, you will lose everything you have to do all over again. So that's bad. The other approach, more common, is the virtual machine installation. That's the one I saw the most, fortunately. There is less red cross, but no green. So when you are working for your offensive assessment using your conventional tools like Kali, Linux, etc., can you follow the best practice in security for your customers? First, concerning the isolation, still it's not that great because you will have one virtual machine because it's heavy on the stick. You cannot allow to have one virtual machine per client. That means once you have your Kali Linux installed, you will have every project, every client on the same virtual machine. So again, that's bad. You can leak some data, use the wrong secrets, and mix things up, and your clients will have some data leak that you didn't expect. You didn't follow correct data isolation and respect the confidentiality of your clients. So you could tell me, yeah, I can do multiple VM, I can do snapshots. Yeah, that's true, but doing multiple VM is very disk intensive. You have to duplicate your operating system every time. You will have multiple VM to manage and to maintain, and there will be a lot of snapshots. So again, lots of disk intensive operation with loss in time, because when you are restoring, maybe you lose some tools, some configuration. It's not efficient. You are losing time. Not good idea either. For the productivity, it's a little bit better because you can have multiple VM, snapshots, etc. So on this point, maybe, but still, you lose data, you lose setup, you lose everything. Snapshots are not a real solution. For the traceability, we are still in manual mode. When you do some action, you have to copy paste and log every action you do. So not good. And for the customization, it's the same as the host. You have one virtual machine, you will custom one time, but if you restore a snapshot, you lose everything you did during this time. So not good. So here come your new saver, exle. So we took every program we just mentioned and the best practice for our activity, for our job, and ask ourselves, what should we do to do a better job, respect security, and be more efficient? That will be a win-win-win. So we use, I will detail the technical aspect later, but a new approach, a new way of working. Instead of having a single heavy OS that you have to install in a virtual machine, we are using containers, using Docker. So instead of working with heavy machine, you will have a single image as a base and create as many containers as you want. This way, for every project, every test you want, you can create as many environments as you want. Each environment is completely isolated, one each other. So there is no mistake possible. Your data on one container is in this container only. It works for file system, it can work with network, it works with web environment, everything. So it's good. We respect the new. Regarding reliability, the image we published are version and tested through the CI/CD. We have over 600 tools like Kali Linux, but ours works. So that's good. And we know it works because we have a pipeline. We cannot test 600 tools. That's not possible. But each time we build a new image, a new release, with the latest version, we have some command tests that will run on some runner to check if every tool runs successfully. So depending on the tools, we can do some tests more or less advanced, but the idea is here. So when we ship a new stable images, we can be sure it works for every tool. And that's good because you can download the latest image at any point, go on your engagement, and everything will work as you expect it to be with the latest tools without any need to PT upgrade, cross finger, paying for having a successful install. Regarding reproducibility, because your image has some action, you can create the container in the version you want. So create the same container in the same state exactly as your first test. So for your reproducibility, check. Regarding traceability, exle is not just a design, it's also the tool I use for every red team operation I do. So I am the user at the same time as the developer. And I'm in your shoes. So I know that that would be great if I didn't lose time on this, or that would be smart to improve that, etc. And every idea like this gave some small features, but a new ease of life to work. For example, the traceability. Instead of copy pasting every command input output, exgle do it for you. You have full activity commands that can be registered, command input and output with date and time. So everything is done background without any intervention. So it's like magic. You can focus on your assessment, on your exploitation, and if needed, later you can go back to this log and extract this information you need. What did you do to this machine? Or what did you do at this time? You can go to the history and check. And regarding customization, that was the biggest part of the project because an image is something we build and we ship. You cannot edit the image like that. Even if the project is open source, and if anyone can create a new profile and customize and create its own image, everything is possible because the goal is open source and it's a community project. But we wanted to create a way to customize your environment, do it fast, easily, reproducible everywhere. So we created a system specific for exgle where you can add your configuration, your need, your tool, your everything in one features. And every time you create a new container, these features will ship every customization of yours into the container. So you have a way to set up your customization, and if you change laptop or container or anything, you will retrieve every time your own configuration. We'll see later how it works, but we're still in the hype. So exgle is a new design, a new way of working to answer a flawed design. Using a heavy offensive operating system, brings a lot of problems from stability, efficiency, performance, especially user experience, but also following security best practice. And the community is not always the good to have because every system is specific. You can have a problem during an APT upgrade, and nobody will be able to help you. So exgle bring new technology and new way to work. Instead of relying on virtualization, we use Docker to isolate and create a working environment. But Docker is a pain to use. When we want some specific features, it's really not great. So we created exgle which add a Python wrapper. So instead of running Docker command and copy pasting some powerful option, you will just have to run the exgle command and will handle every configuration aspect for you. You will have to run one command, and your environment will work all together as you want. There is a lot of modules in this project. Exgle is not just one solution, it's multiple modules that work together. So we have the images, the environment, we have the wrapper, and many more we will see later, like the offline resources. The power of Exgle is also its community. Through Discord and GitHub, we have made a lot of progress. There was a lot of improvements regarding the tools, the feedback, and everything. So when I told you about isolation and dedicated setup, I mean it. We can have multiple environments with specific configuration isolated one each other. We have some specialized images that can be compared to your classic ISO file, but in better. And your container will be based on your image. So the tool will contain everything, but if you are doing only OSINT assessment, for example, you can just have to load OSINT to have the OSINT tools, etc. Then you have project isolation. Project isolation, that's the best part. You have one container to do one thing, and everything will be contained in it. You will not have any mistake or case to leak some data from different customers to another, and everything will work great. So here for this example, I have a container for ActDocs connected to a VPN, and in this container, I can test whatever I want. In this one, I have a lab container to test commands, to connect to a local lab, for example, anything I need. And on the third container, I can have the pentest container for my clients. And everything in this container will be logged automatically. And I will be able to get data in a safe manner without mixing a production environment and sensitive data to garbage data that can be do whatever I want. To not mix them and have a specific environment for each need. Another advantage of this project isolation is to remove them. I can create a container, trash it, do bad ID, crash the OS, no matter rf/ if you want. But that's okay. You can remove the container and create a new one, and everything will work again. No worries. You do a mistake, your environment crash, no big deal. You can start a new one and take back your engagement or assessment where you stopped it. So that's pretty efficient. Exgle is not only a great way to work, it's also for professionals. So, as I said, I daily use Exgle for my red team assessment. So I know what kind of features I need to be more efficient, to not lose time on some config, some reporting, etc. So there's a lot of nice to have features that can make your assessments really, really nice. For example, we have network isolation. You have a container that will be exposed to a VPN like ActDocs, or you have a VPN to access an internal network. Well, with Exgle, you can ask to your container to connect to this VPN. You will have a dedicated network stack for this container, and only this container will be able to reach your client environment. And that's true for the other way too. If you are running ActDocs, for example, on your host or your VM, every service on your host or VM will be exposed to your new VPN interface. So if you have locally any services, development or anything, people in the same VPN network as you can reach you, and there is no proper configuration. Do you want to risk that? Do you want to expose yourself to the VPN? That's both ways. By using this solution, you will have only this container exposed to the VPN, and vice versa. Only this container will be able to reach your client networks. So professional. We do security, so it's time to apply what we preach. Another nice to have feature is the shell recording. So there is two shell recording methods actually supported. My preferred one is Askinema. It's a way to record everything you type in your shell, input and output, and repeat. I will do it demo later. You will see it's really great and it can be able to record everything you do. There is customization. We have a lot of customized, manage and unmanaged option. So you will be able to make it your own. Everyone will have the same exegol base, but through my resources, you will be able to make it your own with your configuration. We also have graphical application support. So if you work with Docker, you know how much a pain it is to have graphical application in a command line shell Docker, but with exegol, it works without even you knowing it. So it's really out of the box, it works. It works better on Linux. Everything I will present today is on Linux because Docker Linux is the real Docker. We have every access. When we're using Docker Desktop or OpenStack or any equivalent on Windows Mac, there is some limitation from Docker itself, but it still works great. Regarding the community and the project itself, it's driven by the community, by the needs, by the feedback we get. And we have also a lot of pull requests on GitHub. People that bring new tools, that fix some typo, that do anything we miss. That's a huge help where the community helps itself through the Discord server too. We have a lot of people helping each other to better understand the container environment because there is a few differences from the classic virtual machine ones, but it's good. Everything is open. We also have a roadmap because we have lots of ideas to even go further, but that's good. So how it works? After every shiny things I present to you, we are going to go a little bit more in depth. So doing everything in Docker is huge. So we start from the user experience with a single command, exle. That's what we call the Python wrapper. From this wrapper, you will be able to execute action, exegol start, for example, and access or create a new environment. On the other side, we have few executable images that are available to download from Docker Hub. You can just download them, like you download and install an ISO for your Kali or any OS. And these images are pre-configured, work, and everything is tested. So you can use them and be sure everything will work. When you have locally installed your images or environment, you only store the OS once. The images are pretty heavy, so the full one now is around 55 gigabits. So that's like an environment. So instead of having your 100 gigabit virtual machine, because you don't know exactly what size it will be, you want some space, you have the ISO, you no longer need to waste this place. You have one Docker images you need. So you have one time 50 gigabits of images, and every container will use the same data. So you can create 5 containers, 10 containers. Your space usage will still be 50 gigabits. Opposite to virtual machine, if you clone your virtual machine to have some isolation between your lab environment, production, assessment, etc., each virtual machine will duplicate data and use 100, 200, 300 giga. So that's, even if it's still pretty heavy, it's still space efficiency compared to the current solution and what we could do with this to manage security level. So once I have my image and my environment, I can create multiple containers with the configuration I need. For example, when using Hack the Box to do some labs or learning, etc., I need graphical support, which is configured by default. I need a dedicated network VPN, which means I will be connected to the Hack-the-Box network, but isolated, meaning that my host cannot reach Hack-the-Box. Hack-the-Box cannot reach my host, but only my container. And that's the only thing I need. Everything I will do will be from my container. That's like a new machine. For my client, I will have more configuration because I want to access my host network, the physical interfaces to run some low-level network attack, like a responder or any network injection. So Docker can do that. We connect the container to the real physical interface of my host. We can have shell logging to record everything I do because it's important, it's in production, so I have to take notes of everything I run. Every graphical support, custom workspace, access my exile resources, any features can be enabled or visible as needed. For the other clients, I can have another VPN. I can have different features and action enabled and do my assessment. That allows me to have a separated environment from client A to client B and have really separated command history, data, configuration, etc., etc. Exegol works on every OS, Linux, Mac, and Windows, and regardless of the architecture. We have worked quite a bit to support ARM. So for our user using a Mac M1, 2, 3, etc., you can use OpStack or Docker Desktop and have a real hacking setup environment. So we have feedback on Mac saying that it works great. There is still some limitation, but with OpStack, we have less friction, so more feedback on this, but it's still a good solution to assess. So Exegol is a big project. There's a lot of modules, different modules, to support every feature I just presented to you and have a great user experience for assessment. First, we have our patent wrapper with patent, obviously. We have some huge plan and repository structure on GitHub. We work with Docker and Docker Hub for container and hosting our images. We have full documentation on Redzoc, a Discord community to help each other to authenticate if you run across a bug. We try to be as reactive as possible, and the full system support. If you want to contribute to help develop or want to suggest any features, we have so Discord, we have the documentation which explain how to contribute, and everything is open. Now that we end with the theory, let's take to the practice. So, who say practice, say documentation. If you want, you can copy-paste the documentation to see how it works. We have a lot of pages detailing every option and action and tips and everything. So if you want to do any kind of get a test and get any information, you can still go to the documentation. To install Exegol, it works on every machine, on every setup. You need Docker, Python, and Git. Git because we manage some repository like resources that are updated monthly. The Python wrapper, when it's from source, can self-update. So that's some great features to gain some time. So the installation, if you want to proceed with me, you have the step in the slides. You have to install Docker or Docker Desktop if you are in other OS, and then you can just have to install the wrapper. So everything is in the documentation, but this slide is like a summary of how to install Exegol. We recommend to use PBX because everything is managed in a dedicated environment, and it works great. And you can run it with sudo because Docker needs root access to interact with the socket. So only the wrapper will run as sudo to interact with the container and create this isolated namespace. And your environment in which you are running the host test will be namespace and isolate. So we have a root access in the container, but this is not a real root. It will be a local root in your container. But another way in which it's an ease of life to be root in your container and be able to do anything low level extra, but without having really dangerous privilege over your host. We also support auto-completion. We have a lot of option and action. There is also a setup to install and use auto-completion. And then once everything is installed, you will be able to install your image. So the image is pretty easy. If some of you want to try exegol now to do the lab with me, I have two hard drive with the exegol image ready to install. It can take some time, so if anyone wants, you can raise your hand or come to touch. You can come to it. Yeah. Which light image. So the different image have different tools. So if you want to download the light image, it's less heavy. You would have every tool that every image used to, but I think you will have some missing tools because the light is pretty light. It's a base image for those who want to create their own environments that are not offensive and oriented. So if you want to work with us, it's preferable to have the full images with every tool, and that's left download. If other one want to install it, the driver here. Don't worry, it's only the images, I promise. No, just Docker. So, yes, one of each. Choose one. So once you have your images installed, we can create our first container. So exegol can work both in interactively or non-interactively. So if you are running the command exegol start, we'll start the procedure to enter or create a new container. So because I don't have in this instructions any container at all, it will tell me which image I have installed. So in this example, I have the full image up to date. So I tell the wrapper I want to create a new container based on the full environment, and my new container will be called discovery because every container has a name. If you want to join an existing container or open a new shell, you can have as many shells as you want on the same container. Just run exegol start discovery, and you will have a new shell in your container and do whatever you want. So to go further, one important point is how you save that, because those containers, as they are temporary, because you are creating it for a new assessment, you are doing your job, and at the end of the report, you have to remove everything. Well, it's true, and you can choose what kind of data you want to keep. There is like a home directory / workspace, and this directory in exegol / workspace is shared with your host. So you can have one directory linked to your host drive, your host file system, to have the structure you use. So here, what I want to say is create a new container subproject using the full images, and the workspace will be saved to my documents and in the folder my project. I also use the parameter --update-fs. These options will edit my directory permission to share file system rights between my host user and my container user. That means everything I will create in this directory I will be able to access it from my host. So if I want to, if I download, for example, PDF or file or anything, I will store them in my directory, and from my host, I will be able to access and open it. It's like a shared permission, and it's pretty useful when you mix different tools to analyze. Once you have finished your test or engagement and you no longer need your container, just remove them. So execute remove, discovery subproject, and you will have confirmation prompt, and everything will be deleted. Now, another features, there is a lot, so we will not see every feature today because I only have 2 hours. But we implemented last year the virtual desktop. So when creating a container with the -desktop parameters, Execute will create your container as usual with your shell, but you also have a localhost URL. You can open this remote desktop in your browser. You will be prompted to log in with your root password, which is right here. It's your PAM credential. It's really the root password of your container. And once you are connected, you will access a full virtual desktop like you would have with Pandox. So if you are not able to have classic graphical application like on Mac, because you will need Xcode and it's not great as project, you can still use virtual desktop and have a new graphical environment, have many environments as you want with multiple at the same time. It's no problem. And like Pandox, environment, Podbox, etc. You can find on Adobox, React, etc. It's same things, but everything is localized on your machine. So that's pretty neat. We go on advanced networking here. So by default, when you are creating an executable container, your network interface are shared, which means from your container, you will be able to access your physical interface with the IP of your host. So here you can see my wireless interface with my current IP. That's allow me, from my container, run some low network app, like Responder or Advanced Nmap or anything you want. If you want to be more secure or different setup, you can disable it and have a native network. You can do whatever you need to play. And with VPN, you can have environment, as I said earlier, with my VPN connection managed and started by Executable as daemon and dedicated to my namespace container. So it's really good isolation and security in best practice. Now for the customization. For how custom? Yes. No. The only thing you need, so actually, Executable only support OpenVPN question, but the only thing you need is when you are creating a new container, you add the parent --VPN following to your OpenVPN file that you have downloaded from Hackthebox interface, for example, and everything will work. You have nothing to do. Just run this command and you will be connected. Everything is managed and works. You don't have to remember what is the OpenVPN command, what configuration I need to create to give to Docker, etc. The wrapper do everything for you. You just start to work. So about customization, we have features called My Resources, and it's yours. It's your place, your volume, where everything you store in it is shared across every container. So that's your place. You can store tools, you can store configuration, you can store anything you want. And from every executable container, you will be able to access this information. So by default, on your host, on your directory, you have a .executable directory with everything, configuration, my resources, and workspaces. And in this directory my resources, you can add any configuration you want. How it works container side, we will have a bin directory, which is included in your path default. So every tool you put in the bin file directly or with Symlink will work. Out of the box, you create a container, you tap your command, it works because it's the path. You can also have some managed customization. We have a list of tools like Python, Firefox, Down, APT, Vim, Zsh, Tmux. We have some directory. You put configuration in this directory, and execle will automatically install whatever you want to. So if you are used to install this package or use this APT tools or the Vim configuration or Tmux, for example, just bring it to the managed customization. It will work directly. If you want to do some customization that we didn't think about or too complicated to manage, you can go to the unmanage section with the load user setup.sh. That's bash script. So literally you can do whatever you want. This script is executed for every new container you create. So if you want to do some manipulation, customize anything, install, edit, whatever, you can do it through this script that allow you every opportunity to do what you need. And if you want to troubleshoot your microservices, there is some log file right here to see what could go wrong. As I said, we also have a config file on execle to customize path. If you want to change the default workspace path, if you want to change where your resources is stored on your host, you can do it. That allows you, for example, to have your my resources in your OneDrive or any tools to synchronize file. So your my resources can be synced to the cloud because it's only tools, nothing too confidential or anything you need. And if you change device, you just have to sync your new resources and everything will work directly. So that's one example of why you want to change the directory. But whatever you need, everything is possible. You can also change from the config file the default behavior, the default features of execle to, for example, apply the update FS by default. So every time you are creating new execle, by default, your host user will be able to access the project. You can also change the shell logging method. You can customize how the virtual desktop will be configured. By default, can be enabled, so you don't have to run dash desktop every time if you want to use it every time. Change the configuration. You can also change the protocol. So by default, we are using HTTP, but if you want, you can switch to VNC, for example. That's both supported protocol for now. But there is more to come, always. So more features. So at this point, you can still tell me, yeah, but with my Ali, I can use a Wi-Fi card, I can do Proxmark. Well, but in more secure way. If you want to access a device on your laptop, you need privilege because the kernel, Linux kernel, filter which device will be able to reach which messages. By default, your executable container is really isolated. You cannot escape from it. You cannot access disk, you cannot access hardware, device, or anything. But if, for example, I want to use a Proxmark to test some badges for my client, I can just create a new container and use -- device or HD, this example, and specify the device I want to share with my container. So here I have dev/tty acm0, and my device will be will present in my executable container. So I will be able to connect to it and do whatever action I need to do. I can show you live if you want. After, yeah. Little demo time, a little bit of technique. So I have connected Proxmark to my laptop, and now I will show you how to create a program container. So the device is here on my host, and now I will create a new container to work with. So here I will create a new container exle called named Proxmark based on the full images, which I will link to the device TY0. So my container summary is here. We can see the device connected is my acme0, and I will be able to run the PM3 commands. And here I am connected to Proxmark. So if I put a random tag here, now he is looking for badge, and we can see Mifer Classic. And after, it's a random badge, so I think it's gonna go fast, but here we are, we've done everything. So you see how quick with exgle you are able to use a device, everything works out of the box, just connect your Proxmark, your device, anything you need, link it to your container, and it works. Yeah. Yeah, as much as you want. Just T-ready again and again and again. It's just configuration. So the wrapper is user experience oriented. So the features you will have in the exgle start command is everything you need to do. So no matter what it means technically, you have some example, you have lots of parameters as you can see. So I want to share, you have update.fs. I want to have some specific privilege, I can add some capabilities. I want every privilege, you can do it too. You want to share device, go for it. You want to disable your external forwarding to disable graphical application, you can. The point of exgle is to give you control over features, not over technical elements. So we don't want to give you a Docker approach where you have to do some advanced configuration, to multiple, to troubleshoot, to everything to work. We just present to you the features. I need these features to work, so I will, through the wrapper, ask for these features, and everything will work. Same thing for desktop, everything is here. Parallel too. So I talked about capabilities because by default, you might have seen in my example, on exgle, I am root. That's my user. On my container, the user I'm using is root. So most of people find it weird and not good practice, but it's actually not root. And that not a lot of people know it, because even if I'm using root, I'm just UID 0 inside the namespace. So on the file system I have, I am root. I can do whatever I want. I can update the system. I can work seamlessly. But I'm not root. Root means kernel privilege. And kernel privilege is not granted to container. So for example, even if I'm root, I cannot mount. I cannot access hardware. I cannot access specific admin and network admin action. To run those action, I need to grant privilege to my container. And it's only using the dash privilege option that my root container is the real root, and I know it on my host. And that's an important difference, because you can both enjoy the ease of life to be root in your environment without risking to destroy your host, your environment, and compromising your host. So that's good. Another features is execute exec action. So when you are running start, you are creating an environment and you are opening an interactive shell. Exec is not like that. It's a one-time execution. You want to execute one line. So, for example, this command allow me to execute in background a temporary container based on full that has a privileged net administrator, so we'll be able to run some network root operation, and I run the command Wireshark. So with this single line, I run Wireshark on my machine, and I don't have to worry about installing it in local or anything. That's just an example, but that's to show you how it works.
Similar logic to Docker.
Excuse me?
Docker actually we can do.
No, that's not Docker, that's exgle. That's because the wrapper is user oriented. So you want to do some action. I want to run a one-time command. So I have exgle to do it. So, and the wrapper do everything for you. So underlying exgle, there is a lot of command for Docker configuration and overcharging some different behavior. But you don't have to worry about everything. You just have this command. It is features oriented. I want to run Wireshark to see what's happening on my host on every network. You do this and you're good. The other advantage is the temp option. You are creating a new container dedicated for this command. That might be overkill, but think how great this is. You want to create to run a command that can be a build command, that can be a Wireshark dump, anything you want, which will be run into a container based on full but dedicated. So the container is created, the container run Wireshark. When I'm over what I needed to do, I close Wireshark. The container see Wireshark is done, I'm closing it, and the container self-removed itself, which means the container only live for this one command. Once the command is ended, everything is destroyed and it's over. You can execute the command again if you want, but that's it. The other approach to using a temporary container is to execute a single command into an existing container. For example, I have the container project here. The container project have a new database, for example, and I just want to start Bluedown. So I start Bluedown in background inside my project container, and I will have Bluedown running up, just like that. So that's pretty. So far, I just showed you why exgle is a serious project, how great it is, but don't see anything yet. You have just saw everything it's able to do, but to me, the most important part is how great it is to use it daily, how fast you can go, and how all the little things we made in it to go faster and to make our life easier. So, for example, you have this file that our ID is here, but the technical way to do it is temporary. We hope to improve this later. But for now, we have in this path a file called profile.sh. This file is just a bash file loaded through bashrc. You can source it. That will store environment variables, so dedicated to your shell environment. Inside this container, this file, you can set password, hash, but also domain, user, the IP, target, domain controller, etc., whatever you need. When you're updating those variables, you just have to run exec/hash, and your current shell will reload and register every variable you have set. So in this file, you can say, so my domain is test.local. I am running a Jado with password Toto on domain host no.host. every configuration. You see where I'm going? Alone, this is just easier because instead of writing the same password of the user again and again, I can just use the variable $password, $user, $domain. It's already quicker, but it's even better with fuzzy finding history. And that is the power of exle. Exle comes dynamically built with custom history commands. So when we are adding a specific tools to exle, we are also adding history commands like templates. So when you want to run a command, you press Ctrl R. This will open a fuzzy finder, and you can type like a Google search what you want to do. So it appears hashcat herb, and I will have every result in my history of what kind of command respond to this query. And here you can see the command hash type with the type here, attack mode 0 with Kerberos table.txt to a fuzzy finder like this. So here you have the command ready to brute force Kerberos table hashes. Ready to go. You just enter. And because we have merged history and variables, the variables $user, $password are in the history. So the command template can be directly executed. So you don't have to edit it. If you have a simple command to run easy, you get the template, you change some parameter if you need to, and press enter. Don't change the data because they are in the profile. So everything can run smoothly. If you know what you are doing, okay, I need this command, I need this, I need this, I need this, you are used to this engagement, you know what you are doing, you are just looking for, okay, I need this command, I need this. You can use the finder to find your command template, update whatever parameter you need, and press enter. You don't even need to change the password, the user, or the domain. And that's magic. So here, if you can see, from this example, I edited a profile.sh with some context information. I reload with exec the message. With the fuzzy finder, I get the template command for SB clients that connect to a domain, user, password, and it's grabbed, but there is a target IP and domain. And I put echo here to show you. So echo just to display the real command that will be executed. So that's what I wrote, I get from the history. And here you can see the real command that will be executed, and the client, domain, /user, password, the domain controller in its FQDN way, and DC IP with his IP. So everything is set in place automatically, just underline it. And that's great. So that's what we call Night for efficiency, and why we push it to professional use. Whereas Kali are great environments with a lot of tools that brings a lot to the community to learn everything, they are no longer fit for professional use. It's a pain to customize, to be secure, to respect good practice. So we had a different vision, modern, to bring new way, new paradigm, new design to have a hacking environment and better user experience to be more efficient in our work. So for professional, you will have also shell logging to record everything you do. You can dump history. So this is an alias I gave to you now, but it's actually in a preview, so it's not in the full yet. It will be the next release. You run this command, you get every command you enter with timestamp, just your input. So you don't have to write it by hand. You run this command, you get every command you executed in your container with date and time. So easy to use. In conclusion, exgle is here to fit the need. We have useful services that are embedded. We have Neo4j, we have Postgre, but so many other. I cannot list everything. Everything is in the documentation if you want if you want more information. So we have Neo4j for the local Bluedown database, which means each container will have its own Neo4j database, and your Bluedown will connect to the localhost Neo4j with default credential pre-registered. So again, it's fast, easy to use, and secure. Same for Postgre, for Metasploit database, etc., etc. We have also some service called Trillium, which is tools used to store notes. It's a web application. You resolve clients if needed. That's allowed to store notes. There is a lot. This one is by default example, so you can store your note dedicated to this activity inside your container. That will allow you to store everything and have a dedicated space for your note on your assessment. And at the end, everything is removed. If you didn't choose to report it, save it, you do whatever you want, but that's by default. And because VM is services, if you start your container with a shared network with some work colleague, you can be multiple to access it. So that's collaborative use. We didn't stop here. We didn't stop here because that's better now. But a few years ago, in Packet was a real thing. The project stopped. There was no longer merge. There was a lot of bugs, etc. So at this time, we decided to fork and create our own in Packet. So it's, we can see our in Packet nightly in Packet with latest merge, latest fix, latest tools. So we are more up to date than the official ones. But it was great for our engagement. We have everything we need since the beginning. For example, I made a bear for in Packet to fix Kerberos tickets after the Microsoft update. They took more than a year to merge it, and in the exle, it worked all that way from the beginning. Everything was working. If you encounter those error, you missed exile. It was already working fine. Anyway, this packet is also managed by the community. It's a lot of work, so not the most up to date. You can choose if you want to, through my resources, for example, to not choose our own version, but the official one. You can do whatever you want. But the advantage of the custom one is to have the latest tools, the latest fix. Another point for teaming is OPSEC. When you are doing some OPSEC, there is a lot of variables. For example, that can be silly, but host name. When you are connecting your LAN to clients, the DHCP, SMB clients, and all of this command protocol will leak your host name. So if you are using a virtual machine MKE, that's not good. Very scary all over the network. Every blue team see what the fuck is that. So not good. With exle, because it's a container, each container can have a custom host name. So instead of exposing your host and letting the ship from your host, you can create a container with a custom host name, as you can see in the example. You also can create a comment that is only for you. You can see in the recap, I have comments to remind me what is this container. So I have a name and comments. Because the name is a shortcut to access it, but you can also have a hint. This comment to say this container is for the assessment for internal audit of the client X. During this time, you can do anything you want. It's local. The important point for OPSEC is the custom host name. As you can see in my shell prompt here, I have my exgle name, so I'm doing exgle on the container test, and my host name is desktop 12356. Obviously, not my host name, but that's what the blue team will see during your engagement. Yes, that's it as well. It's a real host name because it's the kernel namespace of exgle. That's the network host name associated. So it will work everywhere because it's configured at kernel level. Through Docker, that allows you to have one host name per container. If your host name is busted, you can create a new container with a new host name. Easy, ready to go. For OPSEC, as I said, I run some red team exercise, so OPSEC is important. I have my tools and community tools, so you can find a lot of tools for OPSEC. For example, mine is a golden copy. It's a tool that will connect to your Neo4j database and just tell a golden copy which user you want to impersonate, and you will have the perfect theater command. The perfect. So that's great too for OPSEC. Every experience, every needs, every feedback from the community will just add, enrich, and give more value to exle and its users. So, bonus time. Tips and tricks. We have a lot of tips. Everything you saw, it's just the beginning. Sorry, I stop. But there is still a lot of little things that I didn't put in this presentation, like aliases. We have a lot of custom aliases for exle, as you can have seen on the network part. For example, here, instead of writing IP space A to see every interface really ugly, really not readable, here you run IP A without space, and you have a beautiful list of IP with commands. Isn't it beautiful? So that's a lot of custom aliases to go further, to go faster, and to have new features. There is also some keyboard shortcuts. So the most important one is the fuzzy finder for the command history, but there is some other available on the documentation. We have some tools to generate reverse shell. You can access the virtual desktop through VNC and so much more. Also, when you are, I don't know if you encounter maybe more in Hack the Box, but when you are doing some virus authentication, your clock needs to be synchronized with the domain controller clock. And that's also a pain. I see some labs, so I feel the pain shared across everybody. The pain is over, my friends. So the traditional way is to run NTP date or change your clock and be sad and cry a lot. But in exgle, the time is synced with your host. So in your container, you have the real date and it's protected. So you cannot change the clock on your container because we want you to do it the right way. The right way is fake time. So fake time is a command to create a subprocess or subshell with a fake time as its name. So we are preparing an alias to do it quicker, but you just make fake time, targeting the domain controller to get the date, and you get a shell with the name of your domain controller. You can run any month, every ticket, one sub check, regardless of the time. But if you do manually, take care of the time. So that's some great tools. It's a different environment, and fake time is a great example. Where traditionally you change the clock on your system and mess everything, like your log notes. You don't remember what time you had some notes. Or anyway, here you have everything as it should be. So, join the community before we start the box lab. With the invitings, we are many people now on the Discord, more and more every day. So if you have questions, if you want some advice, tips, if you encounter any problem during install or bug or anything, you can reach us here. And don't hesitate to give us feedback. It's also great to see how people enjoy it and how many lives we saved. So feel free to tell us. So lab time, for those who have installed exgle, you can give me your email address so I can send you an invite link for the dedicated lab. From the enterprise platform, you will be able to download an VPN file and create your container with the command here. So it will create a container HTTP connected to your VPN. On the slide, there is a speed run with everything. I will try to show you the demonstration in live, but I have my backup demo effect plan. So for the rendition, yes? The one? Controller. I'm going to do it live, so you will be able to see better. So who wants to do the dedicated lab? Yes? I will come to get me your email so I can send you the invitation. I put the screen share just after. Vas-y. Je te laisse mettre ton mail. Tu vas recevoir un lien pour t'inscrire dans Enterprise et tu pourras comme ça accéder au lab.
Si j'ai déjà un compte, ça va-tu.
Alors ça c'est un compte entreprise, c'est pas le compte Globebox classique. En gros, c'est l'offre entreprise de la Globebox, ouais. C'est une autre application. Donc en fait, tu vas recevoir un mail d'invitation pour t'inscrire à la plateforme Globebox.
Si j'ai déjà sur entreprise, ça va-tu.
Mais ton compte, peut-être, ça va t'ajouter.
Azerty, Midfuck.
Ah oui, sacré français. Quelle idée. Ouais, ça marche.
Ce sera pas long, là, je suis un peu ralenti.
Non, t'inquiète pas, vas-y.
Le layout.
Il y a eu des questions en chat ou pas? Il y a du monde?
C'est plus le Wi-Fi a mis à garder le date et seulement entier.
Ok. J'espère que le micro c'est bon, j'essaie de rester proche, mais c'est shutdown en page. Est-ce qu'il y en a d'autres qui veulent accéder au lab? Merci. Il faut que tu mettes ton mail, comme ça tu vas recevoir une invitation pour t'inscrire. Parce que c'est avec The Box Enterprise.
Quand tu fais le hat.
Yep. Tu devrais recevoir. Oui, vous pouvez. Alors, je ne sais pas combien de temps que The Box va garder le tenant. Donc, à mon avis, il ne va pas rester longtemps. Mais je pense qu'aujourd'hui, il va fonctionner. Il y a des gens par mail aussi qui peuvent l'envoyer par chat.
Ah ben c'est Azerty, hein.
Ouais. Tu veux le rebase?
Je me débrouille. Ah ouais, le arrobas, effectivement, ça c'est où? C'est où le hat?
De quoi? Vous me direz quand vous serez inscrit, il faudra que je vous donne l'accès au lab après hier. Mais je ne vous vois pas dedans tant que vous n'avez pas accès au compte. Pour ceux qui veulent installer exle, si vous voulez, j'ai une deuxième clé USB pour avoir l'image full. Si vous voulez la récupérer, elle est là. On va continuer sur la partie du coup lab. Ouais, c'est parce que c'est Enterprise, c'est décorrélé en fait.
Okay.
So you can create a new container with the following command. So exgle start. Here we are gonna do the forest machine to start using your VPN. So you can select the default option, and the warning here is about a dynamic DNS server. If your DNS, if your VPN supplied some VPN dynamic DNS, you will have to add this configuration to your file to support them. If not, you can just skip and use it as is. So here I am in my container connected to Hack the Box, and I have on Hack the Box my machine started with an IP. So how I can say that I can reach my machine? I can try to ping, and we can see from my container it works. But to show you the network isolation, here from my host, I can try to ping the same address, and it did not work, unreachable. So here we have a real network isolation from the network VPN. The VPN interface is only available from my container and only from and to my container, nowhere else. So that's pretty good when we are connected to public VPN or untrusted network. Last guideline about the exercise. Is try to use the profile.h to use it and reload with exec zsh to really use every features. So for each command, try to find in the fuzzy finder an history commands as template and have fun. So for forest, first thing I'll do is to update my profile file. Here I can change my target IP, save the file. Yes, you don't see it. Yeah, I should can restart it. So once we have updated our profile.h with our target, we can run exec zsh to reload the variable. Then what do we want to do? First things first, nmap. We want to try to find open port, what kind of machine we are up to, etc. So here we have some template nmap scripts with different commands, different scripts oriented for SMB, HTTP, or etc. I will use the generic one to scan ports, simple ports. So that's it. Control R, enter, and I see a lot of. So from what I saw, it's probably Windows and a domain controller because we can see Kerberos, we can see LDAP, etc. So that's good information. Now, what I can do is use enum for Linux to try to find more information about the domain. So, controller, enum for Linux, and our target again. Enter. Start again. So, everything works. We have lots of information. Here, we have found the domain. We can see some configuration. This is the FQDN of the domain controller right here. So I can copy this for later. We can see first vulnerability with the null session works. And we are able to enum a lot of things. So that means we have some rights. Great. So from the information just got, we update again because that's the recon. So here I just add the configuration because my target is a domain controller. So I have the DC host with the FQDN. I have IP and I have domain. Now I reload, and because it's a domain controller, I have to update my DNS server too, so I can change my result.conf file, and it will only work on my container, not my host, because isolation. So I can have a custom DNS in my workplace, and my host will still function correctly. Because it's really your dedicated environment, you really can do whatever you want. The yes solution is the best. So, okay, I have a lot of information. I have everything counted, so I can try to run some attacks. So we are not going to do everything, but with Control R, you can search any kind of attack you want. So we can try to find some SMB clients, for example. So, okay, we have access denied. We can do everything we want to do because we have variables. So just name it and we run it. So do not lose too much time. I can show you directly. So here I have the get NP user that will be able to find as a trustable user if there are any in the domain. So enter, because it's a command for null session. It will try to connect, and I don't have. Time for demo effect. Is me?
domain controller, is it the same host like the chart?
Yes, because the host is a domain controller.
Because on your profile you put 2.1 instead of 2.10.
Ah, maybe. Good catch, good catch. So we were seeing, so we use our variable and it works directly because we have the null session. NP user can do the enumeration directly. We found SVC alfresco directly available for asrep roast table, and the tools gave us the hash. So easy. We put the hash in a file. So now, what are we gonna do? So two options. First one, history. So I want to use hashcat for asrep roast table, and here is the command. So we can run it and press enter. We can change the text file and hash, and that's the first one. It will work. We have also a fuzzy finder for word list. So instead of typing, because it's slow, we are lazy, we want to go fast. I want what kind of word list? We have sec list. So okay, I want passwords, Dutch. Okay, very good. I want RockU. Okay, so RockU, and it's right here. So I use RockU, and it's go. If I want to be even faster, I can use our custom aliases. So I can use hashcat or hashjohn. I use the alias hashjohn directly my file. And I have a first fuzzy finder that will automatically try to guess what kind of hash format it is. So here he found Kerberos 5 asrep etype 23. So I have the hashcat num 18200, and I have the John the Ripper format. So I select this type with enter, then the word list with RockU, enter, and now we wait because it's only on this poor CPU. And tada! With one command hashjohn hash.txt. Did you expect this? So here I have my password and my user. So what do I have to do now? It's a workshop. You have to give me something. I have user password. What do I have to do now? Coller. No. Think exle. What did you learn? We have a user password. Yes. Profile. That's the way to go. So I enter my newly acquired credential, user password. It could have been an NT-hash2, but everything is now recorded here. I reload my variables, and now I can run every test I want. So you want to do some Kerberos attack? Okay, Kerberos table. Here I have a lot of way to do it. So let's use this one. I can use different kind. So not this one.
At the same time, every time we need to go back to the profile to update it, just to save time.
Yes.
Instead of typing everything.
Yes, because it might take some time to the profile, but I have taken the profile, it took me 5 seconds, okay? But now I have Kerberos table, run. I have NP user, already done. I can do SMB map, I can do CME, I can do everything I want. Everything is so I can use
I agree.
every action you did. So because you have set up one time, you can do whatever you want. Just find the command, the test you want to run, and here we go. And even if there is some specific tools we didn't have, through my resources, you can add your own history. So even if there is a command template we don't have by default, you can add it yourself. So it expands beyond. So here we have some tests, etc. Now, recon, we can do bluedown. So bluedown dot p, up, the command is here. And here we go. Nothing to do, it just works. So very good. Once we have bluedown, we need what? We need Neo4j. So we start the service to not waste resources. It's not by default. I start Neo4j. And once it's started, we can wait a bit to start. And I just have to run bluedown because I don't want to install bluedown on my host. It's heavy, it's a lot of things. So just use it through exgle. So here I have my exgle executing on exgle forest. You can see on the header, the window is not from the host. Your network, your window manager show you that bluedown doesn't run on your host namespace. It runs on exgle-forest from your container. So you have the graphical access, but it's still contained in your container as a process. So now that I have my bluedown connected to my localhost Neo4j database, I can upload data. So here in my workspace, there is my newly created bluedown dump. And I should see everything logged. Regarding exgle, you might guess it's not a traditional bluedown because the Kali bluedown, what is the Kali bluedown? The Kali bluedown is bluedown. The exgle bluedown is better. How? Because by default, the community has created a lot of custom query. So I can go to my user opened here. I can try to use the default query. So for example, shortest path from ONID principles. Okay, so this is a default query. So the default query from bluedown tell me from SVCL Fresco, I can paste remote to my domain controller and generical to Exchange, so a computer that isn't in my lab. But paste remoting to domain controller, maybe not the best idea. If I'm not local admin, I have to privask. That's not optimal. So it's not the best. But exgle have custom queries, and that's because of the community. With exgle, there is some community-driven rules created and integrated by default into exgle. So I didn't do anything, but I have a lots and lots of custom queries, the most useful judged by the community. So I have some plain text password queries. I have some ADCS domain escalation, certificate, Azure, etc., etc. So the one I'm interested in is about ONED objects. So here we have ONED objects, and I can do what can I do about any ONED user. I can find some shortest path, and here I have shortest path from ONED to high value targets. And here I see a lot more information. So we still have our forest, which is domain controller with WinRM, but we also have account operator, which lead to, through generical, to exchange Windows permission, which lead to write DSL on the domain. And here we have a real domain compromission path. That's a simple example from custom queries, but there is lots of queries, including cross-domain and cross-forest search. So if you are running an audit in a multi-tenant, multi-domain, multi-forest environment, you can find with these queries some path across domains through trusted groups. And that's is a path bypassing SID filtering, etc., because the group is trusted and include members. So it's by design. So okay, I have my path. So from SVC Alfresco, I can, as account operator, add member to Exchange Windows permission, and then write the ACL to the domain to get desysync rights, for example. So let's do this. First, add member. So what do we do? Yeah, you have to say it a lot, but it has to enter. You will take the habits. Once you start, you never go back. No, not profile. We have everything. Now we know what to do. Add member and then change the ACL. So what do I write? For those in the lab, I added you the rights so you can access the lab machines. So what do I do? I want to add a member. So the correct answer was Control R every time. So I want to add a new member to a group. So I can search add member. That's what I want to do. If you have a specific tool in mind, LDIP or whatever you want, type it. Here, okay, command GAD, that's good. So I have a target user and a target group. So let's fill in. From your resources, use the control, you change whatever you want. You do. Yeah, that's the default one, but you can change everything. So the group I want to find is Exchange. And a user, instead of writing the same username, not always easy to remember, I just use $user. So I can add member, and tada, done. I can then use member to see member of a group. So here net, for example. So here we can see as member of our group, we have both group and our new user SVC Alfresco. So now that we are a member of the group, we have to change the DSL. So same, Control R. I want to change the DSL. So here we have DSL edit. For a very long time, DSL edit was on hold on Nimcat. So one can have it. It has been merged three weeks ago, I think. I think it's out for 2 years, maybe something like that. So for exgle user, since all that time, we had this because of the nightly build. So from that edit, I can create a new DSL to add right to my user. So here I want to add the desysync right, so no need to change. The principal will be my user, and I will target the domain. So here's the command. I just have to edit the strict minimum, and I can try to run. So I have insufficient writes because the machine reset often the group, so I have to do the add member and the DSL at the same time. So add member, DSL. So now I can disasync, and now secrets dump. So here's the template with the hash. So I will change this for user password. No need to put the password, just the variable. It's easier. And ta-da! Pawned. So here's how you pawn forest in record time. We have some time left, so I can show you some bonus. So on the if you download the slide, you will see everything I did. Same thing here with different steps. The bonus point is about Kerberos, because Kerberos can be tricky with fake time. So we are gonna do that live. So first thing is I want to impersonate someone, for example, the administrator, and now I have the KBTGT. So I can create my own variables. Here I export the KBGT key to variables, so it's easier to use, and I can find golden copy. So here I ask golden copy to use my KBTGT and impersonate the user administrator. So golden copy will connect to Bluedown, dump every group, every ID, every information from Bluedown, and create the perfect command for ticketer or for mimikatz, depending on the tools you like. So here I will use ticketer, and automatically it will also export the KRB5CC name variables. So here is my ticket ready to go. So now what will happen if I try to win a run, for example, if Kerberos, I will have an error. Why? Because as you can see here, there is a problem with the time. So we are gonna use fake time to do the tricks. You can find the command here, the fake time command. So if you want to do it on your side. On my side, you can see I have an alias I created. It's called qFakeTime here. And it's allowed to store and create. So this alias is still work in progress, so it doesn't work as is, but I have the command here. But it's also to show you how to create custom aliases. Here, qFakeTime is not part of the image, it's part of the resources, and I can show you how I created just in the My Resources directory. So in here, in My Resources setup ZSH aliases, there is a file in which I can create every alias I want. And every alias I put in this file will work in every shell on every Zegol container I have. So I have my fake time command here. And escape to remove. Okay, I have a new time. You can see before I was in here, now I have in here. I can retry WinRM, and my ticket expired. Sad. Let's go again, because ticketer was forged with the time of the previous container. So I create a new ticket with the lifetime of the new date, and now I can restart and I'm in advance. Okay. Demo effect as always. Yeah, I think the date is not correct. Okay, seems better. Use FQDN because it's Kerberos. And tada! Connected. So here I am as administrator to the domain controller. So you have saw in this demonstration a lot of lots of parts from exgle, from customization to alias, etc. Every pain point we can encounter as community can be improved. For example, the alias of time, it's for soon. We'll try to get it a better way to use it. But in the meantime, it still works. And here are my points. So if you have any more questions on exgle, if you want to see something in particularity, some features, maybe virtual desktop or anything, we have 5 minutes left for question and specific use case. Yes?
I was wondering, for the sys variables, is there a possibility to make lists with them to like have different levels of reference?
So the environment variable are in your shell. That's feature of your shell. We are just setting key value. So your current shell, we have by default profile.sh. If you want to have multiple profile, you can duplicate the file and source.
Like, if you profile.sh, you can have one all your keys in the key there's a key list under which there's every single one of your key that you can name each and every one of them.
Yeah.
That you could call as like key.
Create more key.
No, but like dollar key point tree, for example.
The key name is free, so if you want to add more, you can add more with name you want.
Okay, there's no like subsets. You can create subsets in your public database.
Not yet, because it's still pretty limited. But that's the point of the project I told earlier, where we want to bring this to another level with multiple contexts, multiple users, etc. So we want to improve this because with just a simple SSH file, it's so powerful already. So there is some limitation, but yeah. So if you want to create multiple users, you can tag $user1, 2, 3, 4 for now. But yeah, that's definitely something in our roadmap to improve it further.
Thanks.
So many things I could show you. For example, it's exgle resources. When you install exgle, it proposes you to download a lots of stuff, and this stuff is right here. There is another module called exgle resources, which download a lot of resource, scripts, program pre-compiled, ready to use. So it's categorized. We have a Linux scripts and tools. We have Windows also with WinPeas, Privesc, etc. So if you want to upload WinPeas, instead of downloading from Google, your browser tell you it's a virus, it doesn't want you to an exception. Yes, I want to continue. No, I want to keep this file. Exclude the antivirus. Now everything is already here. So it's in your environment, shared across every exgle. So directly from your WinRM, you can upload /opt/resources/windows WinPeas, and it's here. You can directly use it. So that's public resources. If you want to add some personal opinionated script, you can add it to my resources. It's yours, but it's still a good place. So we have got Potato, we have Chisel, Azerland, Pailing, Pritzpoof, WinPeas, WinEnum, Sharp collection with every resources precompiled. There is a lot, but it's really useful. You can see every .exe file with different network build format. Every cool resources is here. If there is some missing, let us know on Discord, or you can push a pull request to add them up. I can show you also the virtual desktop for the last minutes, and I will let you go. So I create a new container, completely new, with desktop enabled. And here I have a link. So if I open the hyperlink, I will land on a web page asking for login. So I have the root password supplied here. Here's the root password of my container. I can just log in, and boom, I'm connected to the exgle workspace. So I have the exgle shell in the terminal. I have a way to go across the file system, my workplace, etc. And the Firefox, we didn't talk about, but is also overloaded. So by default, Firefox is shared with Burr. We have put lots of default extension to manage your proxy, to analyze application, etc. Most useful. There is some bookmarks to go to Red Team, MacTheBox, Actrix, and every note commonly used. So the point is to be as quick as possible. So here's the tour. I hope you enjoyed this workshop, and you will give it a try. And let us know if you have any idea to get it even better. Thank you.